This is your final chapter, and it's all about worksheets. Worksheets are a really important part of Vectorworks. Whenever you use one of the pre-made reporting schedules, you'll be using a worksheet. So it's really important for you to understand how a worksheet is constructed and what it's used for. When I talk about worksheets, they're really like a simple Excel spreadsheet, but they're really powerful. Not only can they do mathematical operations like volumes and multiply times prices and give you budgets, but they can also look inside your file and report information that's inside it. So for example, we can look at volumes of columns, we can look at areas of walls, we can look at doors and windows, we can do area calculations, volume calculations, occupancy calculations, we can report all of our plants. I mean, it's just amazing what we can do with worksheets. So what I'd like you to do is to make sure you complete this chapter. I know a lot of people get to the end of the book, think, okay, I can just ignore this one, but it's really important that you do this. In the next 2 lectures, we're going to look at the 2 major concepts of worksheets. The ability to count objects and to do mathematical operations on them. And the second lecture is all about using information attached to objects. Well, let's get started. I'd like you to open worksheets.sta from your exercise folder. In it, you'll find a couple of things. A plan of a house, and you'll also find a site like this one. It's a polygon. And you'll find a polygon here for the inside of the building. I'd like you to select the polygon that goes around the site. This is going to become our site plan. On the Object Info palette, click on the Data tab. If it's not already open, Window, Palettes, and Object Info. Down the bottom of your Object Info palette, we can name our object. So we're going to name this Site Area. Site will be enough for me. And I'd also just like you to select this polygon here, which is the inside of the house, and I'd like you to name that House. That's how you name objects in Vectorworks, and it's real easy. Now the next thing we want to do is to create a worksheet. We need our resource browser for this. If it's not already open, Window, Palettes, and Resource Manager. On our Resource Manager, we're going to create a new resource. So the button down the bottom here, New Resource. And yes, I want to create it in the active document. You can get around that by clicking on your document first, then go New Resource, and we want to create a worksheet. So down the bottom here, Worksheet. And let's click on Create. So our worksheet wants to be an area calculation. Area calculation, it wants to be 5 rows and 2 columns. And then click OK. So this is our worksheet, and it just looks like a simple Excel spreadsheet, which is pretty much what it is. In cell A1, we're going to type the name of our worksheet. Site Area Calculation. Hit the return key or the enter key, and you'll come down 1 line, hit it again, and we'll go down to here, and this is our site area. Enter key again, this is our building area. This is our percentage cover. What we're going to do is to ask Vectorworks to calculate the area of the site and the area of the building, divide one by the other, and give us our percentage of building cover. If you want to change the width of your columns, you can just grab that bar in the middle and you can change the width. Here in our site area, we need to insert a function. Insert function, and the function we want is area. Click OK. The next thing we need is criteria. What are we looking for? We have to find some sort of filter system. Criteria, custom. On this side, we have a whole lot of criteria that we can use. Type, class, layer, name. The name is, click on this button here, site. Don't look in design layer viewports, referenced or non-referenced. So the really good test here, how many objects meet this criteria? Just one. Thank goodness for that. If it said 0, I've done something wrong. Click OK. Now what we have to do is to put an equals at the front, then click on the green tick, and Vectorworks has found the area of that object. So I've got 595 square meters of land area. Right click, format cells. I'm going to format this as a dimension area. Click OK. Now if I was using feet and inches, my area might be square feet, and it would just return the square feet of that site. We've done a lot of work here, so what we can do is we can copy that, we can go to the next cell down, we can paste it, and then all we need to do is to change this name here where it says the word site, type in the word house, click on the green tick, and it should find the area of the house for me. So now I've got the area of the site and I've got the area of the house. And now what I need to do is to do a mathematical operation and divide one by the other. Just click here in the formula bar. It's an equals to start. And so what we want is we want that, then a divide, which is a slash, by that, click on the green tick, and that gives me my percentage. But you might notice it doesn't look like a percentage. Right click, format cells, and we'll format that as a percentage. I think just 2 decimal places. Click on the enter, click OK, and there's our result. I'm just going to make this smaller, and I'm just going to push it out of the way. Now the reason I like to use a worksheet for this is if for some reason this object changes, let's say for example the client wants a bigger house, then all we need to do is to go back to File on our worksheet, recalculate, and it'll redo that calculation for me. So this is a really quick way of calculating your areas and keeping them up to date. When you use the publish command in Vectorworks, one of the options is to update all your worksheets. So whenever you use publish to print your drawings, it'll automatically be up to date. Let's just undo that. So edit, undo, and undo again. I want to put my polygon back where it was. Cool. And there's my result. If I close that worksheet, you might be wondering where it's gone. If I go to Window on the menu bar, Chapter 9, there it is there, I can bring it back. But it's not in a place that I can print it just at the moment. This is my piece of paper. On my Resource Manager, you can see my area calculation. If I click and drag that area calculation, I can just drop it on my drawing, and there it is. If I want to edit it, I double click on it, it'll open, but you'll notice this turns into a cross. So what other things can I do to this? Well, I could format that cell, and I could change the font. Let's make it 14 point, we'll make it bold. And when I close it, you'll see it's bold here. I've got lines running through this at the moment. This is a grid. If I go to my preferences, I can say don't show the grid. But what I might want to have is some lines that help people to read this part. So I could right click, format cells, and I could go to border and say I want an outline. I also want a inside, and then OK. So now when I close that, you'll see my result. If you think that this cell is too wide, we can double click, we can bring this back in, and then OK.